This idea is being pitched at the Screen Australia Generate Funding Program for developing ideas in film and or related industries. This pitch is for a film with the concept of retired superheroes and villains. The story of film follows the employees that work at a retirement home for superheroes and villains, as they come to terms with the fact that they are old and weathered down and can't afford to continue the rivalries that's lasted decades. This obviously comes with many challenges, especially because one of the old men is a retired Flash and he always manages to end up in a really weird or odd place like the basement or the roof. Perhaps the most challenging to take care of is the Invisible Man. He could be a real handful because he's invisible, you know, so it would follow troubles like that. This idea is to be communicated via visual and text-based methods, as I want the idea to eventually turn into a movie or a film, which is literally it's entirely made up of film and visuals, because the images are the actual film and then the text is the script and the directions for the other producers or directors. The idea is based off the cartoons drawn by a very talented artist called Matthew Vaughn. So as you can see, Matthew has a very comedic art style, but it's also tragic in its own way, as it describes what it is like for someone to age and lose abilities, super, villain or otherwise. This is how the story should be told. It should almost seem like a metaphor for real life. In reality, everyone is slowly aging and they slowly lose all their normal abilities like walking and talking. This idea of a metaphor inside a story will undoubtedly be a success, as other movies such as The Bird Box also have incorporated metaphors into their storylines, and they've gone really well because of it. The story should also involve many superheroes and villains that the public are all slightly familiar with, at least. This is because younger generations have grown up or are growing up with the idea of superheroes in films such as like Marvel or DC. They're all very recent things that are coming around and people are generally very familiar with them, and the older generation is more familiar with the comics and the stories that Stan Lee have written, like in Marvel or DC. So the age range should probably go from about like 17 to maybe late 50s. The target audience should also be relatively interested in superheroes and their superpowers and their rivalries with villains, because then there's less backstory that has to be told during the entire film. Ideally, this idea should be presented as a film or a TV series, but I'm very open for it to be changed to like a story or like a novel or a different style of movie. And this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, if there's any like real adjustments that need to be made in order for it to be more successful in the public eye or in the distribution or the making of it. Yeah. Thank you for listening to my presentation.